First time in a long time, but back like I never left. Taking each day as it comes, you know me, I don't read ahead. Watch me burn down everything, BDE on the TV set. When I'm in control on the road, you can never really know what's up next.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Braden Herrington here with Davie Portman for Up Next. You found us at postwrestling.com, Apple Podcast, Spotify, whatever podcast app you're using. And of course,
we are live on youtube.com/postwrestling. Hello, Postmarks. How you doing?
Hello, Postmarks from the Post Wrestling world. Hello, Poison Pals from the Poisonrana world. And hello, NXT friends. Friends. And it's Tuesday, and every Tuesday, 10:15 p.m., we chat about NXT, and that's what we're going to do today, and then some, because there's a lot to talk about.
There's a lot to catch up on this week, yes. Absolutely.
I mean, so like I said, you should search Poisonrana in your podcast app and give us a little follow and check out all the other shows, because we usually go live on Sundays and talk about wrestling. We talk about all the other wrestling, including WWE, New Japan, and AEW. And it was a big AEW show this Sunday, and we didn't go live because, well, we went live at a bar here in Toronto at Wide Open. And I want to shout out everyone who showed up and supported. We had some listeners. We had some new people who just like stumbled in and were like, I found there was wrestling at a bar. So we had a fun, like, full packed bar, and it was a good time. And shout out Shannon, of course, at Wide Open, who was making all the drinks that you came up with, but like really everyone was having a good time. And I was feeling those Tiger Driver 91s the next day. You were pushing the Tiger Driver 91 during the match. Yeah. And then we did about two more after the main event, or right around the main event.
Oh, is that what happened?
Oh boy, the hangover was real, buddy, for real. The Tiger Driver 91.
Yeah, like you got dropped in your head, right?
But we had to. Your trick was you had to be conflicted.
I don't know if I want to drink this or not.
So everyone's walking around the bar like
Tiger Driver.
Everyone's like doing it, like, oh, should I do it? And then you did it, and everyone, I'm sure, had a hangover like me. But yeah, it was weird. Wrestling during the daytime and then drinking and.
Oh, it was an awesome event. We had such a fun time. It was great seeing everyone hanging out. Shannon, our bartender, was absolutely fantastic. It was fun because this bar is like right on the street, and with the doors open, and not a whole lot going on out like 1 p.m. on a Sunday or whatever. So we had lots of people walking past, and it was funny because I saw at least 3 couples walk past where the guy was like, "Oh, can we go in there? I want to see that." And the girl was like, no, we're going shopping or whatever. And they're like, oh, but I don't know, there's wrestling going on. This looks fun.
We definitely had some people who brought their partners, their girlfriends, and you could tell they were maybe not as big as the fans, but they got, even by the main event, they got into it. But the funniest thing was, I'm outside having a smoke, and this guy walks by wearing an AEW I Was There Toronto shirt from like a year or two ago. And he looks in the bar and he's looking all confused. And I go, "Hey, are you here for like the watch party? Like, you're a little late." And he goes, "No, there's a watch party. I live across the street. I'm watching it right now to go get my food. It's the Jericho match. So I left to go get food." And what do you mean? You guys are airing this? I'm like, "Yeah, check us out. Poisonrana." He's like, "Oh shit." Like, he had no idea. He just lived in the building across the street and was getting his pizza. I'm like, that is like hilarious. But then we had some shout out our friend Reckless Rob, who always, for some reason, has an unlimited supply of replica toy TNT title belts that we usually give away as prizes at our events, amongst other things. And so we tried that. You gave one to a kid who showed up.
I'm pretty sure I paid for their drinks as well.
Oh, nice. Okay, nice.
Not intentionally, but I'm pretty sure I just paid for their day.
Those Tiger
Drivers.
Drivers.
Bought their pizza, bought them
we were way too nice.
Bought them some drinks.
Yeah, you bought pizza for the whole bar. Like, it's fucking great. But so then you gave him a TNT title belt, and I was like, all right, let's try to give another one away. So I was asking the bar, without cheating, it was during the TNT title match, who's the artist of Jungle Boy's old theme song? And no one was getting it. And a guy busts out the bathroom door, probably still on the can, like half his body out, like Baltimore. So gave him the crown to wear while he's pooping. But yeah, what a fun night.
Oh, I had such a great time. Yeah, like the FOMO was kicking in, like especially on the Saturday, seeing all the videos and photos from our good friends at Grapple, their event, which we teamed up with last year for All In It, and their show looked like it was awesome. I can't wait if there's an audio version of that to listen. But them scoring Will Ospreay showing up,
fucking crazy,
saying that he stole their criticisms of Jericho for the Jericho feud last year was pretty awesome. So yeah, the FOMO was definitely kicking in, and for me, like I kind of like I was at peace with not going until the like Danielson stipulation came into play, and I was like, fuck, because he's like my favorite. He's one of my like favorite wrestlers of all time. So definitely was getting the FOMO, but I think doing the event at Wide Open kind of alleviated that because it was so much fun. We had our own little Wembley going on Richmond and Spadina, and especially, I mean, there were so many highlights throughout the night, but man, that main event that's what I love in wrestling. Like, it was just so well done. I thought they built that whole story in such a way where you could legitimately believe that it's Danielson's last match. Because, I mean, if you're going to have a last match, where else would you want to do it than a huge stadium? You've got Taylor Swift screens up on the set. Not
enough screens, apparently, for some people who are mad about that.
You know, your wife and your children front row, and we've known he's going to be wrapping up soon anyway. So I was kind of buying it that it could be the end, and definitely like that, you know, the house call and the J-Mail driver, some of those kickouts towards the end, like
crazy.
We were all going nuts, and I just thought it was such a like emotional and satisfying main event that to me, and we were there last year. I enjoyed being at the show last year, but this year's all in blew that out the water as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, absolutely. We were definitely conflicted. We wanted to go again this year, and I'm sad that we didn't, but it was a hell of a show. And you're right, like the main event felt like just an all-timer, like just an absolute classic of like story of, could this guy retire? We know the injuries, we know the contracts and stuff, but could this be it? And I had hope, as many of us fans, that like, no, this can't be it. But there was a few times that we were jumping around. We got some great videos of the bar because people were losing their minds, as was Wembley. It got so loud for that main event. I actually rewatched it today.
I rewatched it yesterday.
And like it hit the second time. Like, it's just so good. So it's honestly one of the best matches I've ever seen. And I mean,
we're going to be doing a best match ever Europe Part 2, as we're on the road to Bash in Berlin, and I'm pretty sure we're inserting this match in that list.
Absolutely.
It was incredible. I think the work Swerve has done as well as champion, and really his rise to get to the title as well. It's fascinating because I thought he played the villain in this match so well, but he's going to come out of this still as a huge babyface. He's already got a feud, like a main event feud set up with Hangman, which is still going on. So I don't worry about him being lost in the shuffle post-title run. And I thought that sit down with JR the other week, where he was saying like, you know, like sometimes you got to do shit to like get attention, and referencing the home invasion and that kind of thing. But I also would say like, something as like a black wrestler. Like, we've seen how few black wrestlers, world champions there've been in like the history of this sport. And I think there is something that he really needed to, character-wise, like knock down that door and show, hey, look at me. I thought he did it to some sort of an extent in NXT, but definitely. And just being this super villain for this one feud was just perfect against Bryan. And I don't worry about him coming out of this at all. I think he's going to be even more over than he was a week ago. So and leading into that Hangman feud. So I just thought it achieved so many things. You know, it had that real feel good feeling at the end. It was emotional. Like, even on rewatch, like I was getting goosebumps and teary watching it. Like I just thought it was everything I love about pro wrestling in a match.
Yeah, it was so good. And you say Swerve, like he's definitely going to be all right. It looks like he's been tweeting out and people are reporting he's re-signed a very nice contract with AEW. So I'm sure he's definitely going to be sitting pretty, and he'll probably be a multi-time champion in this company. I could see him being champion, within, again, another year, because there's still so many other avenues you could go and other names that he could beef with. But I assume All Out is Hangman and Swerve one more time. This is like got to be some sort of barbed wire exploding death match, like sort of thing. Because like what else could they possibly do? Because he did technically kind of lead to him losing. He didn't just straight up cost him.
He came out,
So there's still juice there in that one more match, I think, from that feud. But the story of like the title v career was just so perfect, and it's crazy that 10 years ago was Danielson winning at the main event of WrestleMania.
There's something about big stadium shows with Bryan Danielson just holding a little kid up in the air, which
he almost did the Tiger Driver on his kid until Brie was like, no, don't do that. That's what happened. Just what a match. Like that main event was just so spectacular. The fact that like I just had to watch it back today. I was like, I need to. Was it just those Tiger Driver cocktails that kicked in, or like I remember the whole bar just being so locked in and going crazy. And the same with watching it, like the sound of that arena, the stadium, just was so loud. And for those kickouts and the big moments and just the happy ending, he finished the story essentially. And I know people criticize, including myself, that AEW hasn't been great at stories, but within the last 2 weeks, they really built the story. And when the video package for this hit, I'm not even talking about Green Day one, like the one for the match hit, like it felt like one of the best stories ever. So they really stuck the landing.
I thought we mentioned about like Taylor Swift's set there, but it just looked so much better than last year's. Of course, last year you had 30,000 more people, give or take, but Swerve's entrance, and I don't think they used the shot that much, but the high shot where you just saw this huge stage and then the rows of the video screens, and just like Nana coming out on his own with that massive screen behind them and bringing out Swerve. I thought he felt like the supervillain coming out at the end of that.
Yeah.
And just like the final boss walking out.
On top of it, he had Nana, he had Who Kid, who like a few of our friends in the bar are losing it over that. He had West Side Gun, Bun B, like to like wrap him out.
It was an awesome entrance. And just made you feel you've already had Final Countdown. It set the stage. I always say when we're kind of giving our grades on wrestling matches, for me, it's more than bell to bell. It is the video package. It is Rock Austin My Way. It is like, that meditation video of Danielson with his whole career. It is the entrances. It is the post match. It is the attire. It's all of that, because it is more than bell to bell. And I thought just the whole thing, the story leading into this, the build up to it, the big match feel, the stadium, the crowd, everything just was stunning.
It's definitely got to be up there for, again, like an all-timer, but up there for anyone's match of the year, I could imagine. There's some good ones, and they include Danielson, they include Ospreay, but this one, like just the spectacle of it, like it looked so good and everything hit. So well done, because that was great. And I swear we'll talk about NXT, famous last words, but anything else? Because like I thought the Ospreay MJF match was also fucking great.
I want to rewatch a lot of the show again, because I think it's one of those things you are caught up in, like the day of it all, and whether you're at the stadium or at a bar or watching with friends or whatever, there's a lot of kind of distractions going on. Definitely really enjoyed Ospreay and MJF. I do want to watch it again. I rewatched the original match just the night before to kind of get in the mood for that. Right. So I definitely want to see that. I thought that was excellent. I thought the payoff with the Tiger Driver was great. I still maintain it. Like, I think they've kind of retconned it, and they're like, let's just forget about the other 2 times he's hit it, and like this is his super finisher now.
Right.
But I thought that was great. I really enjoyed the gauntlet. I think that's such a great match they've got, and I think it's so easy to just go, we'll just do our own Royal Rumble, and I think it works. The fact that some of the criticisms I saw going into it was do you want to debut someone in this match that they're not necessarily going to win? I think the difference is in like a Rumble, you get eliminated.
Yeah.
You know, with this, it's a cluster. You could potentially end up with 21 people in the ring. And like when we play 2K, it's someone can just score that fall. So I don't think it's necessarily like debuting a Ricochet in that sort of match or having someone on the caliber of an Okada in that match. It doesn't diminish them losing a gauntlet match. They're not the one who took the fall necessarily.
No.
And I just think it's such a great way where you can have the pop of the countdown and the song and whoever's coming out, the surprise elements, and then these dream pairings where you can have a look at let's see what Nigel McGuinness and Zack Sabre Jr. looks like together. Let's see what Okada and Orange Cassidy look like together. You've got all those different combinations you can play with. And I just thought it was such a fun match and really where I was like really getting into the show.
Yeah, like we were talking about for the few weeks leading up, like this is a match to get some of the other people and the other feuds that might not get like the single match, but you can do different ones throughout it. And I mean, with Danielson having the main event with the title, we just kind of wrote off the Nigel stuff that's been going on for like the last year or two. We all kind of thought they'd do that match one more time. We could still get it. But that was just like a crazy, like, wait, what? And then he comes out.
And he looked great.
He looked so good.
He looked really
good.
Good.
Oh man, like that just made his like whole life. You could see like he's been just.
He returned at Wembley Stadium. That's crazy.
His return was so big, and his theme is Oasis.
Yeah.
So you know what this means.
He brought the band back together.
He brought Oasis a day later. They were like, Nate, you gotta see this.
We gotta go.
Nigel.
Oasis in Wembley Stadium sounds pretty good. So.
Is that why they're not doing Wembley next year? Because Oasis, Liam and Noel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We going?
Yeah. Card subject to change. How long do you think that tour lasts?
Yeah, I'm gonna try and go to one of the early shows if I can.
First one, and that's the one because it might not happen again after that. But yeah, that's incredible. Crazy news. I've been listening to them all day.
Oh yeah,
because I was like, "Fuck, that's crazy." There is a rumor they're coming here too. Any Torontonians? So
I did see the planning a potential North American tour
if it lasts that long.
Yeah, we'll see.
If it lasts,
we'll see.
But yeah, Nigel McGuinness coming out was incredible. Ricochet making his debut, also really cool. He looked great. He looked really happy, doing all sorts of fun moves, and again, just teasing you of like, oh, there's some big matches, and I think this guy wants to maybe prove himself a bit more than just being kind of in the sides in WWE,
yeah,
like off to the side.
First step to that is delete all your social media accounts.
Probably a good idea.
He's been in the company like 2 days, and he's arguing with people with like 12 followers on.
It's like, hey,
Twitter.
I was speed champion. Come on,
it's like chill, man.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely a thing. But I hope maybe like it works out because there are some big potential matches. They've already teased him and Fletcher on Wednesday, so like that was pretty cool. I actually got into the gauntlet. I loved Hangman and Jarrett finally getting the big moment there. That was great. And Hangman losing, just the furious side of him, which then he later comes out, right? So pretty cool. But Christian winning was definitely like not on everyone's like bingo card.
I mean, was that the tip off that Danielson was winning?
Yeah. It's like, oh, well, we need a challenger for 2 weeks. So Christian could be that.
But Christian's is a cash-in opportunity.
They never said that still.
No, they said on Collision and they said on commentary.
Oh, okay.
That you can cash in at any time. Which,
okay. I just assumed that's the all-out match.
It could be. I really enjoy Christian's run. It's not necessarily like I don't necessarily think we're going to have a long Danielson title reign. And if that is the case, I don't know if I'm particularly interested in Christian being one of those stops. We know we're getting Darby at Grand Slam.
Yeah. We know there's Wrestle Dream, which is in Washington.
So that's either going to be, Swerve challenging again or Darby or whatever, or a three-way with the three of them. Christian, it's like, it's fun, especially if it is a cash-in kind of gimmick. It's fun for a heel like Christian to have it. But I think I'd have been more interested in someone else having it. I still think maybe Hangman and Hangman coming out with the contract towards the end and Jarrett whacking him with the guitar then to stop him. Maybe I don't know, but it was interesting booking. But we'll see we'll see where we go with it.
Other things like there was a lot of matches. I thought Mariah May and Toni Storm was awesome as well. Like that's another great story and a great build that I genuinely wanted to see, like what would happen. And we got color. We got Mariah May slapping her own mom.
It was exactly how it should have been. Like, I think it was paying off the story without going too into CM Punk Drew McIntyre melodrama. Like, I thought it was exactly the right balance.
Yeah.
I think Mariah May's just been fantastic since she's come into the company. And I think definitely the best built feud. And I thought the match paid off on it as well.
Yeah, I liked it more than I liked CM Punk and Drew McIntyre.
Oh, yeah, me too.
So, I mean, and the mom slap thing was just weird. I'm like, damn, but still cool moment. She's just a baddie. Other little things, it was cool seeing the Von Erichs, even though they're like the kids of the Von Erichs, do the claw with Shibata in the Wembley Stadium, because I assume next year, All In Texas, we're getting the Iron Claw there as well. So they did it to tip you off like, hey, these guys might be on the actual card next year. But that was like 16-man. What was it? Was a 20-man tag team
crazy
match?
That.
And then Sammy Guevara and Brian Cage were like, no, I'm going to be Wolverine.
I'm Wolverine.
And
Brian Cage is like, but look at me. I am Wolverine. He's like, no.
Why don't you be Deadpool, Sammy?
You should be in Gambit.
Yeah. We needed more superhero
thing,
Oh, yeah. Other things is Pac winning with his other friends, since his other friends are probably not going to be working with him anytime soon. So they just swapped in Claudio and Wheeler.
I felt this. I didn't really like the ladder match, to be honest.
It was okay.
It was early on. I mean, it was the opening match, so you're kind of still settling a little. I'm over ladder matches. I think, especially off the back of just seeing like a 16-man tag, 2 of them, and then you're getting a 12-man ladder.
There's a lot of people.
Sorry, 16-man ladder. Or whatever. I can't maths right now. I find the team a little weird. It felt we need to give Pac his moment, and we forgot that he was meant to challenge for the international title. Like, it's cool. He got a big pop for it.
Yeah.
That wasn't really a big highlight for me.
I mean, now it's announced All Out as Pac Ospreay. So I mean, that's the pay-per-view right there.
But that's such a thing as well with AEW. Cool. You just won a trios title.
Yeah.
How about we put you in a singles
feud?
Sure. Which it did just feel, and I think it shows how little these trios titles actually mean now at this point, where it's just it's just a prop for Pac to win something on the night.
All right, and then I know it was this for our bar and that one guy I mentioned who was across the street looking for his pizza, but was the Chris Jericho match the piss break match for everyone?
I think so.
And that's coming from someone this is one of my goats, but like, I just don't care about any of this feud that is also still continuing this Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean, this feud started at the Dynamite we went to in Toronto, which I can't remember if it was the Dynamite just gone or the one before that, because it feels so long.
This learning tree is growing like a tree.
And
speed here. It's so slow, so boring. Just let it go.
It was cool to see, Taz, and because they haven't really, even when he was in Team Taz, Hook was just quiet and stood behind him. I think finally see them hug and be father and son was pretty nice. But this has been going on since March.
Wow,
this feud.
I don't know. It wasn't great. That I kind of I didn't still kind of had it on, but everyone went to get their snacks at that match.
Yeah,
I think, and again,
that's when I got pizza.
Yeah, exactly. Some of it had zucchini on the pizza, and a lot of people were like, "Hey, that was, underrated. Good stuff." Zukon.
I like zucchini.
Zukon za. The tag title triple threat was just okay. I didn't really necessarily get into it. I think the criticisms we had is we kind of hate all these guys right now.
I think that's the issue, and we brought this up on like Poison Rana and on this show, where everyone just seems kind of a bit unlikable at the moment, and we've seen all these combinations a lot. And I didn't overly think Bucks and FTR clicked at Wembley last year too much. And I kind of got the same sense with this. Like, technically was nothing wrong with it, but it definitely not one of the matches I was thinking about by the end of the night.
And then we got GYV just show up in the ring like, hey, we're also signed now to AEW. So, which is cool. We love these guys. And I kind of felt like they've just been like kind of doing their own thing and not really. I know they started their own school, it looks like, too, with Pete Dunne. So like, that's cool. But
I think they're like seeing what's out there, you know, and not jumping too quickly.
If done right, I think they could be good for AEW and vice versa. So I guess that's a cool moment. I didn't hate the match. I just didn't think necessarily it was anything too special. I did mention I did love Ospreay and MJF. I know it was half the time, but I think I did like it longer, the better than the long one. But again, it has all like the spectacle and the Apollo Creed outfit that we definitely knew was coming.
Assassin's Creed entrance was pretty cool.
Yeah. All the cool stuff. They made it look like a big spectacle.
Although, during his entrance, like it was cool. The dances and everything was cool.
Was it Ray Gun?
But then one of them had a bit of the Alex Abrahantes about him by the end, because everyone else had kind of cleared, and then Ospreay's coming out to his elevated theme, and then this one girl just like does a backflip next to him, and it's like, okay, you're in the shot now. It's your bit's done.
Give him an Olympic gold medal.
Yeah.
Damn.
And then Britt and Mercedes, which I didn't think really hit for me.
No, I didn't really like it too much. I kept trying to give it a chance, kept trying to get into it. I just thought it was a little boring.
I think
it didn't click, but
I think this match I think you could have switched this with Mariah May and Toni Storm, and I think people would have been a bit more energized for Toni Storm, Mariah May, especially that is the women's title. That's the main title.
Yeah.
And I felt that should have maybe gone in this place. Would have given it a harder spot, but I think people would have been more pumped for Britt and Mercedes if you did it earlier in the show. And I thought there was a bit of fatigue going into it, which people were able to pick themselves up after, but just didn't click. And I don't think this, apart from like the first week with this feud, it hasn't really clicked for me.
I'd say one of the biggest reactions Britt Baker got was hitting her ex-boyfriend's move.
Right.
She still did that move in the match. And I don't know. I like Britt and I like Mercedes, and I don't necessarily think the feud going into it was done all that right. But from the initial segment, I was like, okay, that's the big match. That's great. But I didn't necessarily like hate it, but it was probably one of my least favorite things on the show. So
yeah. I agree. We also had a Jamie Hayter returning in the pre-show.
Forgot about this.
Which exactly, you forgot about it. I felt that should have been
right there.
I know there's a lot, and you've got a hard out. Although the show finished pretty early.
So why was Jericho in a match?
But yeah, that's one of those things where I think there's Jericho obviously is a star and has pull, but really that match should have been on the pre-show, and I'd have done Saraya, Jamie Hayter moment in the show. Yeah. Like it didn't have to go long. Glad to see Hayter back.
Oh yeah, that coat she was rocking was badass.
Looked great, but just I felt it could have been on the main show.
Yeah, especially since the last thing we remember, like she has the stuff with Britt. So like I know that there looks like there's stuff going around about, maybe them not working together, but like that we eventually needed to go to that match. We don't need to, but
seems like the rumors are and take it for what you will, but that maybe her and Britt on good terms.
Is Britt on good terms with anyone?
Maybe not. But you'd have thought the time would have been, still have Mercedes win, Mercedes and what's Brickhouse's name?
Camille.
Camille beat down, and then you have Jamie run out for the big pop and the save. Yeah. But clearly there's stuff going on.
Yeah, sure. But you know what? Overall, like this one, we were at last year's, but this one I think was way better than last year's, and it definitely capped off with the main event just being this like what I'd say is an all-timer. But like the rest of the show for me was just so entertaining, minus the Jericho learning tree stuff, and yeah, it was great, and one of the best pay-per-views of AEW, like maybe their best one. Just so much fun to watch, and it didn't like outstay its welcome. I don't like, again, other than that Jericho match and maybe the Monet Baker match, like everything else just seemed pretty fun, and the crowd were for it. Like the people were there for it, and I know there's so much talk of like AEW in the mud and they're doing so bad, but like 50,000 strong being excited to be there is better than 80,000 where half of them don't really even know who these people are or care.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just I think it showed, and it was our criticism last year, and I know we were getting some pushback from people. Oh no, I remember going, Kenny should be in a singles match, not in a 6-man. and people know, but you're getting all these different combinations. It's like, this is the show. This is the big show you should be building to. And I think they corrected that this year, where you knew about 6 weeks ago what the 4 main matches on this show are going to be. And it helped this whole build for it. And then you can fill in the gaps with the other stuff.
Yeah.
I thought it was, going into it was so much better. There were some flat weeks. I think the next thing AEW needs to try and figure out is, okay, when we are promoting a match 6 weeks ahead of us, how can we spread out these moments and these beats of the story to make it compelling and hit its peak? Because I think most of them hit their peak probably a month ago. And then we're like, all right, we're just ready for the match now.
Right.
And I think that's the next thing that they can try and like sort out. But, you know, they learned from last year, this year. So if they keep going in the right direction.
So, I mean, they announced Forbidden Door for next year, taking the place. I imagine that's like what, the O2 Arena over there or something?
O2, Wembley Arena, like Craven Cottage, if he wants to try and do a stadium. Like there's so many arenas and stadiums and things.
And then announced for February, Grand Slam Brisbane, Australia, which I guess those Aussies, they're gonna, that's probably 20,000 plus, 40,000 maybe. That's a lot there too. But
what stadium is it?
I'm not sure, but whatever. Brisbane, probably the rugby, right? Those Aussie rugby rules.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, they should keep the tradition of being tennis stadiums.
True. Do Aussies play tennis?
Yeah, there's the Aussie Open. I don't think it's in Brisbane though.
Do they play tennis like they break dance?
There's some good. Who was there? Leighton Hewitt. He won Wimbledon.
So our friend Dickie Bird is in Brisbane, so I imagine he's gonna have to go to this show. He'll be our reporter, but that's a long way to go.
Suncorp Stadium, capacity of 52,500. Yeah.
Suncorp. That's like sun. And is it charged by the sun?
Maybe.
Our friend Dickie lives there, and for anyone who's thinking about going to the show, he just found a python in his garden. So,
damn,
that's what you'll get if you go to Australia.
Pythons.
Like what? It's no garden snake, but yeah, big news for AEW, and that's pretty crazy. But anyone in Aussie land, let us know if you're gonna go to that. That's pretty awesome. It's pretty cool that they're doing that.
Speaking of Aussies, I did catch Raw yesterday, and I think once again, like Bronson Reed kind of stealing the show a little bit. Did you get to catch any? I know we're kind of wrestled out at the moment.
Yeah, I you know what? I haven't still enjoyed what I've watched from some of the Raw stuff. So I watch it usually on Tuesdays through YouTube and Twitter when they like clip it and stuff. And I did check out the tsunami onto the car, which reminded me of Here Comes the Pain.
I thought the whole match was really fun. Actually, I think, you know, Braun Strowman, he's not Will Ospreay, but I think at times when he's had these sort of meat matches, he's over-delivered, and I thought this was the case here, especially when they got to the car park. Obviously, the tsunami is what everyone remembers, but there was a crazy bump where like Bronson was thrown across a car and just bumped off the concrete, and but that spot at the end, like I think they've done such a good job with making this guy feel special in a short space of time, where I'd kind of written him off a little bit ago because he's been a little start-stop in the company. But he's now a bit of an attraction. People are excited to see what he's going to jump off next and who he's going to squash next. So I thought that was, I thought they did a really good job with that.
I've liked some of the stuff he's done, and then there's been, like you said, stop-start, or like stuff didn't hit like at all. So I'm happy that they're giving him a big chance. He's got the look, he's got something, and I hope it works out. But the tsunami was cool, but I didn't know why there was an explosion in the car.
Yeah,
that was more explosions than Here Comes the Pain parking lot. We just rewatched. I rewatched the parking lot brawl from Guerrero and Cena, and like that one where he does the splash from one car to the other is pretty crazy as well. Throwback there, but yeah. And then it feels like there's so much wrestling because it's like All In, which is like a 5-hour big WrestleMania type show, and then we do NXT. So I'm watching NXT tonight, and then there's Dynamite, which I gotta see what happens with Danielson talking about his future. Is he injured? Is he going to wrestle still? Is he going to retire the belt even though he's the champion? Who knows? He could just be like, actually, yeah, my kind of promised my daughter I'd retire, so sorry. Or will he wrestle at All Out? There's intrigue there. But then this upcoming weekend, Bash in Berlin plus No Mercy. I think before we end the show, we'll give a little preview predictions of both of those shows quickly. But we can get into some housekeeping before we talk about tonight's NXT. This Sunday, it's a few days before your birthday, so you have the night off. And I will be joined by Post Wrestling's youngest in charge, Andrew Thompson, as me and him will be going through No Mercy, Diggity Dog, on Sunday night. So I know the show, WWE shows now start at 7. That's the new like make sure, because we did a watch party for SummerSlam and people showed up at 8 and were like, oh shit, I didn't realize that. Like, it says it there, guys. Come on. Well, we thought that was the pre-show. I know. If someone didn't tell me, I would have been in the same boat. But 7 p.m. is Eastern is when the show starts, and as soon as it ends, Andrew and I will be here on the Post Wrestling doing a post show for No Mercy. And then next Tuesday, I know we do every Tuesdays, but it is your birthday, so we're taking the night off, and I think we'll go live some point on the Wednesday.
Yeah, we'll see how we feel in the morning, but we'll post up. We'll go live at some point on Wednesday, and we'll make sure we throw it up on the socials when we're about to go live.
Absolutely. So as you should follow us on all the socials, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Search Poisonrana. Give us a little follow for everything that we do, whether it's live events in the city or podcasts. And we do a lot of podcasts, because if you're listening to us on Post Wrestling, you may have heard or seen that we dropped our first episode of The Champ Is Here, where Davie and I were joined by Andrew Thompson and Nate Milton in a very lengthy podcast chatting about the history, career, and the first title win of John Cena, as we're going to go through all his title wins. And this was a hefty show.
This was a long show.
Oh boy, that was a show. But you know what? It was so much fun, and appreciate all the people who've hit us up and sharing all the love about this show. Really appreciate it. And if you haven't checked it out, please do. I know it's long, but you can listen to it in parts, you can break it down. And we gave it to you for free.
Yes.
Here on this show. But we do have a Patreon, and we also recorded another banger, I thought, because we finally reviewed ECW One Night Stand 2005, Matt freaking Hardy. He's not on the show, but that's brought up.
Yeah, really fun. This was one of our Up Your shows where we go to one of our world champion patrons, see what they want us to talk about. We were joined by Andrew from Cape Breton, who shows this show, showed off his ECW One Night Stand jersey.
Worth a lot.
And yeah, we had a great chat with Andrew, and just one of the most rewatchable wrestling shows of all time, I would say. One
of my favorite pay-per-views of all time, for sure. A classic. And it was so much fun to go and dissect it and go through all the fun stuff, including the main event, the Dudleys, Sandman, Dreamer, and everything. Masato Tanaka and Mike Awesome is just so good. And I can watch that match over and over and over again. So listen to us talk about that. And then, like we mentioned, this week, because of Bash Berlin, because of All In, we will be doing Best Match Ever Europe Part 2. We dropped part 1 just a few weeks ago before Clash, I think it was.
For the France show.
Before the France show, of course, Backlash. So we looked at, I'm trying to remember now. We looked at Bulldog.
Bulldog versus Sean. We looked at the Shield versus Team Hell No and Ryback. No, Team Hell No and Undertaker.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? We looked at Klinger versus Dragunov versus Walter from WXW. GYV versus FTR.
No, we looked at Aussie Open.
Aussie Open versus FTR, yes.
Zack Sabre Jr. and Will Ospreay.
That's right.
Yeah,
yes.
We looked at some good stuff. Bulldog and Sean, was pretty fun. But this time around, what are we looking at? We're looking at, because I started watching them today, we're looking at John Cena versus HBK from Raw.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about Jushin Thunder Liger before he was even Liger as Fuji Yamada taking on Rollerball Rocco.
Oh, yeah.
From somewhere, where was this? In London? England? Somewhere in England.
Somewhere in the UK.
I watched it today. It was wild. It was great. And then some other things, including Ospreay versus Oku, Gunther v. Sheamus, and I am vetoing yes to adding Danielson and Swerve to this show too. So we post up all the links on our Facebook and Patreon, but we will be talking about all these matches, and then we'll pick the best match from Europe
And a lot are obviously on the network, but we do provide links where available. And we'd love all your feedback. Even if you don't have time to check out these matches, tell us your thoughts. What are some of your favorite matches that you've ever seen take place in Europe?
Yes, so lots and lots of podcasts for you. It's only $5 to become a friend over on our patreon.com/Poisonrana. Check out, like, you get all those shows and everything, a full month's access. You can access all the archives of every What's Next movie review, wrestling review, and it's only $5. We're independent content creators, and it goes a long way.
It does.
Thank you.
And final plug, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe we'll do a couple more.
Probably.
This Saturday at Gabby's, 1 p.m., we will be showing Bash in Berlin.
Oh, yeah.
So come and hang out. We've done a few watch parties recently, and they're all so much fun. So if you want to come and hang out during the day and you're in the Toronto area, please come along. You can go to Poisonrana.ca for your tickets. It's only $5 to come and just hang out.
Yeah, we're going to have fun and watch Bash Berlin. I'm looking forward to it, to see how crazy these Germans get. We were in Berlin last year. We walked by the Uber Arena, and I know how those Germans like to party. And for us, it'll be 1 p.m., but for them, it'll be a wild night. So if you're going to Berlin, definitely hit up Yam.
Oh, yeah.
Yam, the beach bar.
Madame, what was it called?
Oh, man.
The brothel bar.
Whoa, wait. It makes it sound like we had a way more wilder night than we had.
Go check out the local brothel. No, what was it? Madame Claude.
It used to be, and everything's flipped upside down, so you feel like you're in an alternate, like, weird upside down universe. That was a cool bar. There was some crazy bars. So if you need any help, let us know. But have fun in Berlin if you are going. But wow, pretty crazy. And then we'll see you in Toronto if you're here to come watch it with us. And then this is WWE news, and I saw this today. So it counts as talking about NXT, because I saw today WrestleVotes talking about this story of WWE possibly moving the Performance Center to Las Vegas.
So yeah, WrestleVotes put this out, and then Fightful seemed to say that this isn't the case, and that WWE sources have said that this is not happening. I think there's, maybe some truth in the middle somewhere. Obviously, it was very interesting that NXT decided to do a PLE at the Apex instead. I think they were going to do, was it Savannah, Georgia? They were going to do it in an arena, and then they moved it to the Apex, which holds way less people. And we figured it might be, testing the waters a little bit. So yeah, maybe there is some truth to this.
If there's smoke, there's fire. I think them doing Apex was a sign they were testing some things. The fact that TKO, UFC, all that stuff, Vegas is their hub. I think we were talking for a long time when this was going on, like, hey, wouldn't it make sense for them to do that? Is this some sort of test that they might move that? Here with now Fightful being like, hey, that they're saying, WWE saying that's not the case. I think there's a chance that there's two. I think there's a chance you could eventually get, like, having some sort of presence there is something that will happen. WWE store or gym or something along the lines. Maybe not a PC, because then we'll start having territories and, like, what we're going to NXT Florida, NXT Vegas. You get your more rowdy dudes hanging out in Vegas.
Yeah.
Your NIL athletes in Florida.
Where do you think most people would prefer to live?
I don't know. It's probably hotter in Vegas. So
drier heat though, isn't it?
The sand,
yeah,
coarse, rough gets everywhere. I don't know. Vegas sounds like a lot of fun if you're coming out of college or university training to be a wrestler. They already get up to craziness and shenanigans in Florida. What could these young kids get up to in Vegas? I feel like that's a bad idea.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a very bad idea. But
I'm going to throw a poll.
Orlando, you got Disney World. How much trouble can these people get at Disney World?
Right.
You say that, but you can get into a lot of trouble at Disney World. However, Vegas, probably a lot more.
Especially Epcot, drink around the world.
Yeah. The Mountie in Canada was like, hey, man, enough of those ciders. We've had enough. I feel like going to Vegas could be something that WWE does have something there, but I don't think they're just going to shut down Florida and move there. I think a lot of their staff and trainers and people they put up in condos and apartments there, that's a whole thing, right?
Yeah. And they've got all those, it's a huge space, the PC, isn't it? So, Interesting. I can definitely see more Apex shows coming, but whether we'll move the whole thing there.
If they were to move it to Vegas, if they were to move this PC to Vegas, would it be safer? Like, how are parking lots in Vegas?
Oh, probably fucked. I think that's like, you know, when you watch scary movies and a house is haunted, so the family just move away, but it's actually the family that now haunted,
right?
And it follows them. I feel because we've already moved from Full Sail, to
and the parking lot.
And we've seen like I'm pretty sure you've seen things happen at parking lots on like pay-per-views where they're somewhere else.
Yeah,
so
it's just the NXT parking lot.
Yeah,
I don't know. I've been to a few parking lots in Florida and Vegas, and they're pretty sketch. So be safe either way. But yeah, I don't know. Them moving. I don't
think parking lots are the nicest place.
No, especially not outside the PC. People always trying to jump you, shove you in trunks. But yeah, interesting if that's something that goes forward, or if there's any news eventually coming out of that. But to Vegas, they're going to Mania, and for Vegas, maybe they'll just scope out where to build some land on the desert. Let's talk about some NXT though. Let's talk about tonight's NXT from Tuesday, August 27th. Wow, the summer is almost over, except it's so hot. I can't even say spooky season because today was a very, very hot summer day. But NXT from Tuesday, August 27th, 2024. And we kick off our final stop before No Mercy, our go-home show, if you will. We see a little video of Fatal Influence walking to the ring as they start the show against the Meta 2, Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend. Now, I liked how, you know, Jakara's thing is the lollipop. She started the match and started in the ring, so gave the lollipop to Lash and said, hold on to this for me. But then eventually tagged Lash in, and then eventually at one point I was wondering what happened to the lollipop because she eventually had to go in there and break up a pin. Where did she put it on, like the turnbuckle? Did she like give it to someone to hold?
And Oro wasn't there, was he?
No. So I was like, I was concerned.
I don't know
what happened to it. So Jakara starts things off here, and she keeps tagging in with Lash as they start hitting power moves. There's a double lift from Lash where she catches it's Fallon Henley and JC Jane in the match with Jasmine ringside, and she's got both of them, like she catches them and is lifting them in between the ropes, like shaking them, and then throws them around. She was literally throwing these two girls around. Lash Legend is a beast for sure.
I hate this rope bounce move though.
It doesn't look like it
always
hurts.
Looks so silly.
But I think the spectacle was supposed to be that there was two of them. But
yeah,
I know what you mean. Yeah. However, Jakara comes in the ring, sends both of them to the outside, and hits a huge dive through the ropes as we go into break. When we come back, Lash hits a fall-away slam. They hit a sort of heart attack off the middle rope for a 2 count. Jakara hits an Edge-O-Matic, a Jackson-O-Matic, I guess, for a 2 count. Lash then gets this rolling elbow from JC, which sends her to the outside. And then, as Vic says, this was a fatal mistake, which I think is a nice name for this new move. The Fatal Influence finishing move here is this like running PK high-low kind of thing, kind of like the golden ratio. And
well, we saw like JC and Gigi did something similar, didn't they? They did like the leg sweep.
That was the worst total elimination ever by any tag team. Like their version, right? It was like the sweep with the...
It was sweep with a knee or something like that. And this is similar, but I think, more the PK.
Fallon, definitely. Like, JC's gotten a lot better.
Fallon does Shining Wizard, isn't it? I think that's what it is.
Right. I was going to say, it looked like
Wizard.
A kick to the face. It looked really good. So they pin Jakara and get the win here. So the Fatal Influence starting off strong.
I'm enjoying Fatal Influence. I think both Fallon and JC have established themselves as the kind of vets of NXT now at this point. And I liked how we saw that stuff last week about how, you know, they did know each other before here, and they've known each other a long time. It kind of made sense, this group, especially someone like Fallon, who was feuding with Toxic Attraction, I felt, for the longest time as well, and why she would be joining with these with JC, and why the youngsters are pissing them off, these people that didn't have like wrestling backgrounds or whatever. I think they've made sense of it pretty nicely. And I thought they looked good as a team. And Metaphor, I think Jakara and Lash keep on improving as well. But
yeah,
it's the same thing we've said before, though. I feel we do kind of need some tag titles for the women in NXT.
Or it's like, why do we just keep having these?
Yeah.
Why would you want to be in a group when there's no real something to grab for that. But I think Fallon is great, and I think it helps the other two, but at least it also gives her something to do to kind of be like the leader, because JC's not really the leader, even though she was the lackey in the other group before. So it's like a rehash of that. The name is
I think they seem more equal here, isn't it? Right. It's more Jasmine is definitely the follower, but it's I'd say Fallon and JC are pretty equal.
Right. Well, after the match they celebrate, and again, there's no championships to go after, but maybe Fallon with like her heel heavies eventually could go for one of the titles. I think the North American title has her name. She should have been the one to win it the first time, but yeah. We get a video for Wesley and Zachary Wentz, and it shows all these years ago when they were MSK and tag team champions. He shows Wes losing his partner, having the American title, then losing that, then getting back surgery, and they have a face-off here tonight. They're going to come face-to-face to solve all their problems, as a face-to-face does. But shing, shing, that's not a sign that Shane O'Mac is coming.
Shing, shing, bling, bling.
But, Karmen Petrovic, the sword lady, comes out, the new chick from the Six, and she's getting ready for her match just in a second against Izzi. But we go to break. When we come back, Eddie Thorpe finally is DJing to a crowd that we can actually see.
From a house show, right?
This clearly looks like one of the like house shows that they've been doing, where they got all the people to. He's DJing from the ring, which looks pretty cool, and it shows him watching this, and he's got all these like ladies backstage with him watching, and Ashanti, the Adonis, comes in and he goes, "Oh, that music's dope. Is that you?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, okay." And the girls walk off, and he goes, "Oh, you're a DJ? Oh, I guess because you're seeing one of these girls. Which one are you seeing? So I don't like step on your toes." And Eddie says, "Oh, no. I'm just friends with them." And Ashanti says, "Excuse me? Did you just say you're in platonic relationships with these women? Come on, bro. You're a DJ. That's why you got in this thing, to get women." And Eddie says, "No, I'm in this for the music. It's all about the music." He goes, well, it's about time DJs got into the music for the music." But they're interrupted, as if you were kind of watching the background, it looked like Idris went into some training room and Brooks followed him. And as the camera kind of follows, it's Brooks who's like beating on him, and then it's a pull apart. So a lot took place in this backstage segment.
I like how whenever Ashanti shows up, the women just leave uninterested, but he like doesn't seem to notice at all. They're like, "Ugh, it's this creep." It's funny, this stuff he's doing, and like I've had people say similar stuff, like bartending or acting. You often work with nice looking women, and people are like, "Oh, which one are you with?" I'm like, "No, they're my mates, they're my colleagues." And it's like, "No, but come on, bro. Yeah,
we all know.
Like, yeah, no, fuck off.
He's being the he's the smartest man in WWE because he's going down for the women, but none of them seem to like him. But I like this character. Someone needs to be the slimy guy in NXT.
Well, he's surely got to get with who's the douchebag McGee? What's his name?
Lexus King?
No, we've seen him, like Lola Vice has beaten him up a few times.
Oh, that other guy?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Ashanti could do without him. What's that guy going to bring to together?
I just think they'd be funny.
Oh, okay, right. Ashanti is funny. He kind of he's heel because he straight up just said, "Hey, you can't be friends with women," because that's a whole other conversation. But he then is like, "Oh, it's about time DJs get into the music." I'm like, "Oh, you know what, Ashanti? Maybe you're not so bad." So I like this character. Something I didn't like was a video. What is it? Wendy Chu has a message. It was a tweet. Sorry. Spooky Wendy Chu also tweets. It's like the time when Kane said that Undertaker texted him. That was the day kayfabe truly died for me. It wasn't when Undertaker broke character and did Joe Rogan. It was when Kane said he was texting him. I was like, really? So Wendy Chu, who's a spooky doll demon, tweets, and she tweeted today that she has a special message for Kelani, and it's a surprise. Wait till you see who is here. So what does that mean? We'll find out. But Carmen's been in the ring this whole time with her sword, shing shing, and she's taking on Izzi Dame, blonde v blonde, as Izzi starts to work the back of Karmen here, starts attacking her, and then hits a huge sidewalk slam for a near fall. She hits I always call this the high low. It's not. That's the move we were talking about. But the a D'Lo Brown like sit out
the
sky high, but also Karmen gets out of that. Izzi works the back even more with a proper torture rack here, but she gets out of it. Karmen fights back with a huge spin kick, and then the Natty by Nature spinning lariat, and then another like pretty impressive running almost penalty kick here, and then Izzi comes back and tries to go for one of her lifting moves that we've seen her do. Oh, sorry, this like twisting sidewalk slam, her finisher, but Karmen counters this into a sunset flip and gets the 1-2-3 and the upset victory over Izzi, who is furious. So Karmen wins this one.
Didn't think a whole lot of this match, but they definitely seem to be giving Izzi Dame the reps at the moment. She's started to wrestle quite a bit, where I think we were saying for a while, like, we haven't really seen her do a great deal. I want to see her continue to try and come up with more impressive big person moves. I think that's what really got Lash over, was when she started showing off her strength. And she has the size, and you know, the torture rack's fine, but I think she needs to come up with a few more like impressive things that really shows off her like height and her strength.
She at least tries different, like the Canadian Argentinian backbreakers, torture racks. Like, at least she's trying some stuff. But I think this could be a little bit of a long game because she's been lost in the shuffle and it's a bit of a reset. Yeah. So
and Karmen, I think, is a pretty good natural baby face. I want to see a bit more character coming out of her in her matches.
Yeah, and I think she's impressing and improving, and one day could be a pretty big deal for WWE. Like a lady with a sword. Just, I think it could work in WWE. Yeah, just marketing wise, it's pretty good. Everyone loves a good sword. I don't know. It's Kill Bill vibes. We see the NQCC backstage. They're grappling each other. This was you on Sunday. You popped a bunch of people, and everyone was like, "Yo, I'm about to fucking," I forget who it was. Like, Dave, was it Trav? He was like, I'll give him a receipt. I was like, please don't, just let it go. People wanted to chop you. This was you. Like, you want to fight? You want to fight? People were like, Davie, calm down. Too many Tiger drivers. The NQCC are grappling just like you were. And Ren is like, oh, let me in there. I want to get in there. So she's trying to grapple. And Charlie's like, no, you're not grappling. And she says, come on, Charlie. I'm the only reason you won that cup last week. Come on. Kind of true. And he's like, well, I got to get ready for my match later. The tag team match. All of us got to get ready for the match. When it then cuts to Tony and his family and their training for the match, because it's a 6-person tag later on, when how I can best describe as two older Italian men, strange Italian men, show up and go, hey, Tony, we got to talk.
For a brief moment, I thought one of them was QT Marshall.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying.
And then I was like, it should be QT Marshall.
They say there's some business. It's an emergency. We need to talk. He goes, no, not now. Like, they got a match, and I'm going to be
wrestling.
Yeah, I got to be the manager for this match. And they're like, oh, I don't know, Tony. So we'll see what happens. We go to our next video kind of sit-down interview, pre-taped here. I mean, this whole episode was, in fact, pre-taped. But Jada Parker being interviewed for her title match this Sunday against Roxanne Perez. And she talks about how she was a former soccer player at LSU. 2 years ago, she signed to WWE. And then this year, she had her first PLE in February. That was in a tag match. Now she had her own match in a singles, like, multi-ladder match. And then, now she's in a match for the title. But she's been in arenas before. She's played soccer and for thousands of fans on a national soccer team. But I'm tired of hearing people say that I'm a soccer player who became a WWE star. I'm a WWE star who used to be a soccer player.
Good line.
I like that. She goes, and I'm Jada Parker. I'm on point. And at No Mercy, my actions will speak louder than anything I say right now. When she's interrupted by Roxanne Perez, the NXT Women's Champ, she says, Sarah, get out of here. So Sarah leaves. She takes her spot. She says, oh, Jada, you're sounding good. You say like you got it all, and you might have it all, except you're not the prodigy. You're not Roxanne Perez. You're not the next me, and I'm going to embarrass you on Sunday. And Jada says, yeah, well, if you say one more thing, I'll slap the taste out of your mouth. Roxanne says, I'd love to see you try. And without missing a beat, one of the biggest slaps ever here. Smack. What did the 5 fingers say to the face? Just smacked her. And she walks off. And then Roxanne is acting scared. And then as Jada's leaving, she looks past the camera like as if someone's standing there and says, "Oh, you're here. I've heard about you," and then walks off. And when Roxanne kind of looks to see who Jada was talking to, she goes, "Ah!" Maybe it was more of a, I don't even know what that was.
I want wrong answers only. Okay, like
I don't even know what noise that was.
In my head, it was just Boogeyman eating worms behind the camera.
Yeah, what was she looking at here? Who is she scared by?
Both of them had, like, you know, when it's like you hear actors talking about they're meant to be fighting a giant spider, but it's just a tennis ball on a rod,
right?
For their eye.
Yeah.
Both of them, like, I have more appreciation for those actors because, no one was there. Like, obviously, you can't see behind the camera, but just watching, it's like. And now this is the bit I've got to pretend to talk to someone.
Yeah. Okay, so were they referencing who we're about to see later on as one of the surprises? Who's scary? Or were they referencing like Julia?
I think either Julia or Stephanie McCool.
Okay.
I'd say.
Right.
Probably more likely Julia.
Okay.
And just teasing for someone who's going to show up at the end of the show.
I really like this whole segment. I just thought that last 2 little bits about the person being off camera was really weird.
It's where, you know, for me, it's where bad acting makes you just groan watching this show.
Because the problem going in is, we said it last week, like, hey, Jada Parker's new to this and like has been improving and like, good. Is this this is a big spot? Is it too early for her? She basically cut a promo right here saying, you know, I mean, it's an edited promo, but it's saying like, hey, this is my story and this is what the doubters, I guess. I feel
in 2 ways about it, because in one way I'm looking and you go, oh, Jada Parker, Roxanne Perez doesn't feel like a PLE level. But I do appreciate that they're like letting, for how many times do you hear people talk about, I just never really got the chance or whatever. I never really got the chance to show myself. And think all that time where it was like the ROH NXT, where all these like very established wrestlers were taking up a lot of these spots. Now I kind of like that it's like, all right, you're going to be in there with one of the best in Roxanne Perez. Let's see what you can do. And it might be too much too soon, but I think it's a good hurdle to come over early. We saw it with Lola. I thought Lola and Roxanne was pretty good, and giving her a bit of a confidence boost, I guess. And I kind of like it. You can't have a whole show built on those kind of matches because it will feel weak. But if we know we've got like Julia and maybe Vakor around the corner for these big matches for Rox, this segment kind of won me over with it. And Jada, her character work is great. The thing that I haven't been convinced on is her wrestling. And let's go in there with Roxanne, who's the best, and see what we can get out of you.
She's going to hit that hypnotic and Roxanne will kick out right away. And then she'll be like,
she'll do the swerve, just like brush it off.
Like Goku, or,
you know, when he hit the Busoko knee and the swerve was like, nah.
He's like Frieza or Cell. That was Dragon Ball Z shit for sure. Where it's like he gets blasted and then they're like, we got him. And then he's just like, nah. But I thought this sounded good with Jada, and it did do what they needed, like her to explain her story. And I thought she had some lines, and I think you're right. The wrestling needs to come through, and not expecting, you know, a Julia style match, but I'm expecting something good if it's a PLE. Yep. So hopefully it is. I thought she sounded good here, so I'm ready. We go to our next match, a mixed 6-person tag, the No Quarter Catch crew, Charlie, Miles, and Ren taking on the family, Stax and Luca Crucifino. I always forget that there's a wrestler named Stax and Luca Crucifino.
How do you forget?
I don't even know. Great gear on these guys, the Yankees colors. Tony's ringside. Charlie's in, hits a backbreaker on Stax, and then Ren tags herself in, so Rizzo goes after her. Tony is then ringside when these 2 strange Italian men once show up again, and they go, Tony, it's an emergency, so he's got to go. So he leaves as we go to commercial break. When we come back, this clearly has not affected the family because they're in control. They hit a trifecta of all leg drops to the gut. Why does the ref always let this move go whenever Jeff Hardy used to do this? The leg drop to the balls.
Yeah, I think it's meant to be like the groin.
Right. Of course it is, yes. They all come back, though. Stacks gets dropped with a knee onto the apron, and then Charlie locks in a Muda lock, which is pretty nice, and then drops Stacks on his head with a crazy German. Except here he accidentally slaps Miles as Stacks ducks. So Dempsey gets hit with these shoulder blocks as Luca makes a hot tag and then hits a Billy Gunn-esque hip toss into the neck breaker. I always love a good hip toss into a neck breaker, but it's broken up by Ren, who then Rizzo hits a tope to her on the outside, and then Fireman carries to Dempsey, and then the shatter machine on Stacks, and it's a 1-2-3, or it could have been on Crucifino, the other way around there. But yeah, the family get the big win, even though Tony was gone.
Yeah, so that they didn't even need him here.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see them going for the tag titles soon?
I guess so, to heat them up a little bit, but I didn't think this was bad, but I've been liking the no quarter catch crew stuff, so I kind of felt like it was a bit of a regression, but also he's just won the cup thing. I don't know. I
kind of felt the same way about all the wrestling on tonight's show. Was just, it felt taped, and I don't know whether it's because it was taped or because, I've just come off of All In
really
and
good
stuff.
It
all the matches just felt a little bit by numbers here, and I like both teams. I think both have I think Stacks has come along such a long way
for sure
since we saw him debut, and Crucifino's no slouch either. And I'm like you, I enjoy the style of the NQCC, but didn't do a whole lot for me.
Yeah, I imagine we do eventually get the cup being defended against maybe Stacks, maybe Crucifino, maybe Ren puts it on the line, like we said, so they could continue to feud, but they won here. We see Pete Dunne backstage. He's mad because he says that Trick cost him the title, but I won't bitch about it like he would. And he goes, but you're going to learn, Trick, next week that if you mess with the Bruiserweight, I'm going to beat you within an inch of your life. So it is announced it's not at No Mercy, but it is next Tuesday night, Pete Dunne versus Trick, Part 2.
He keeps on using the figure it out line, doesn't he?
Figure it out.
So, yeah, I lost, but I'll figure it out.
Put on a shirt, Pete.
He's got to, yeah. Ethan
Page is backstage with Ava, and he says what we're always thinking. Oh, I'm here in the principal's office of NXT High. He says, she says, that she doesn't like what he did last week with trying to get involved with everything. And
attacking the refs.
Yeah, she's like, you can't just do that. And he goes, oh, you're right. I'm so sorry. I guess you're going to have to suspend me, and I guess I won't have to defend my title this Sunday because I'll be suspended. She goes, no, you're not suspended, but I have some things that I'll tell you maybe a little later on. But he's like, all right. So he walks off. But he's looking spiffy.
Always. Good.
It's our face-to-face. Former tag team friends, brothers. Zachary Wentz comes out. Looking nice. I liked his green suspenders. And Wes comes out. They got a lot of security guards in the ring. This is some face-to-face verbal sparring. Zach says that every team breaks up, but not the Rascals. I thought we would never do this, but you've done it. You've broken my heart. Wes says, well, I'm the bigger star, and just face it, you're just jealous of me. Zach says, well, I know I messed up, but when we were a team, MSK was one of the best in NXT, and I've owned up to my mistakes. I've grown up. I've become a man these past few years, and it took me a while. It took me a lot, but I finally got back with my bro, and you threw it all away. Wes says, bro, this isn't 2022 anymore, and I just don't care about this, so I don't want to listen to anything else you have to say. Zach says, yeah, well, you were about to quit for the third time, and we stopped you, and don't forget that. Just like you shouldn't forget who was there, getting food for you when you were injured, taking you to therapy. Who was there for you? I maybe wasn't your partner on camera, but I've been your brother all the time through behind the scenes. And you still did this. And Wes says, whatever you say to sleep, whatever you say, just get over it, bro. And he's very Russo in this promo. He then says that you and I are different levels no matter what you say. And I'm a WWE superstar. You're a TNA wrestler. And at No Mercy, you can just forget everything. And I forget if this has a pull apart. I think he just leaves, but probably a pull apart at some point. All these security jobber cops in the ring. But Some mincing words from both people here.
I really like Wentz's promo. He was someone that stood out when I was doing the TNA reports, the Impact reports during COVID. He was someone that really stood out to me. And I remember an angle where, his brothers, the Rascals, got beaten up and he was the one standing up for them. And I think he has a very genuine emotional connection to when he speaks and just really speaks from the heart and almost a kind of, when you hear Eddie Kingston, like that kind of just realness about him. Unfortunately, I'm not getting it from Wes at all. I am not buying Wes as a bad guy. It doesn't sound like he believes anything he's saying. I don't think after the turn he came out strong enough with his promo the other week. I think I remember saying he kind of almost sounded justified in why he did what he did. And here it was, there were a couple of lines like, I'm a WWE superstar, you're a TNA wrestler. I don't get him as this egotistical, big-headed person. And he needs to go a lot deeper for me to be convinced. I think the match is going to be good because they're both really spectacular wrestlers, but I'm not buying this Wesley character one bit. And I thought this kind of face-to-face really highlighted that, because I thought Wentz was so believable, and then I kind of thought it was a bit of a brick wall he was performing against.
I think that's what he was trying to do by saying, like, I don't care, get over it. Whatever you're saying, if it helps you sleep at night, getting it off your chest, like whatever. And then it's like, I think they made the match official because he's like, I'll fight you and we'll prove this, whatever. But I know you're saying,
but he's coming across almost in that. I like the line of, Wentz saying, oh, we came out to stop you quitting for a third time. And he kind of had that, just the attitude he had when he was depressed and going to quit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care, whatever. And it doesn't really sell the match to me. And I think this should be, we've seen when it's worked and when it hasn't worked with these, I think for us, like Gargano and Ciampa, that turn really worked. And I think Ciampa went so deep into being just evil after and doing these things to get ahead. Whereas, Wes, he feels like his old character just, it just doesn't, it's not working. It's not working for me at all. And
I think the match will be awesome. I think the match will probably be the best match on the show. But the story of it is a little weird because it's...
sometimes, how many times have we seen, when tag team partners or brothers or whatever go against each other and it doesn't work?
It doesn't usually work.
And the way the feud is going so far, like, I worry it could be a bit like that.
I think the feud is just a one match kind of feud. I don't think, like, he's still in TNA and all that kind of thing.
But then what? Do you see Wes coming out of this feud as being the top heel in NXT?
His
weird, ambition is to be the NXT champion.
Yeah.
We've got a heel as the champion right now. I don't see them putting the title on the TNA guy and Hendry. So, and then you've got Pete, who's a heel, who's wanting the NXT title. And Wes, who I think deep down, everyone just wants to cheer him. Everyone wants that.
Yeah, that's why it's weird.
Everyone wants that run.
That's why it's weird.
And he hasn't, he's had the North American, but he hasn't had that huge babyface chase for the title. And for the sake of this, like, match happening.
Call me crazy. It's like, in a weird way, this would work a lot better if Zach was the one that turned heel. Like, bro, they fired me. You didn't walk out with me. You didn't leave. You stayed. Like, what? You left me. I've been going to TNA and I've still been bringing, you got hurt and I still took care of you. Like, I think it would have worked a bit.
And we haven't, I guess it's because they want to keep him as baby faces in TNA, but I think Trey is a good heel.
Yeah. Just think the story would be so much
Trey's
better.
Just kind of disappeared. He's just cried on TV a few times and left.
Like, imagine, it's like they have the tag team matches. You got those out of the way, the cool tag team matches, and then they lose, and then Zach turns on him, and then Wes is like, yo, what the fuck?
Because it was Wes that took the pin as well.
Or was it Wes? No, it was Wes that took the pin. Yeah.
That's what I mean.
And Zach just missed the break.
Zach just missed. But
I think it would have been a way more interesting story because it's also like he's the because it's also weird. This
and then
guy's like
Wes has to defeat his past
Yeah.
to go on for the title.
and it's like he then screwed him in. Like Wes could have been in the 4-way match. He could have also been screwed by Zach and like all these things. So in a weird way, it's a little backwards because I think you're right. Like I like these guys, and I think the match will be so good, and I'm sure it's a big deal for these two to have a program as legit best friends and everything. So I get that. I see that.
It was such a brutal attack as well. Like if you think back to like Owen and Brett, you had the tension first, and there was a little like sniping at each other before you had Owen like fully turn on him. We had like a really brutal attack from Wes, and then he's just like,
I don't care.
Sorry, bro, I'm just doing my own thing now. I'm moving on.
Yeah, it would have been weird because I think we've done such a good job of building up this character for Wes, only for him to turn heel, which was just a little backwards, I think. But again, regardless, I think the match will be good, but a bit weird of a segment because it's you left and I became champion, and then I was sad, and then now I'm sad, even though I'm the one who did this. It's all strange. We see Joe Hendry backstage, and he sees Trick, and he goes, "Hey, Trick, thanks for helping me out last week, for taking out Pete and everything." And he goes, "No, don't worry." He says, "I believe in Joe Hendry." And he goes, "Hey, well, Trick, I know you've been chasing the NXT title, and if I win it this Sunday," and Trick goes, No. When you win the title, you mean?" He goes, "Yes, you're right. When? I'll give you a shot. I'll give you the first shot at it, Trick, if I win this title." And he goes, "Thank you very much. I appreciate that." But you got to get ready for his song later tonight. I know you're excited about that. We see Wendy backstage. This is where we see Wendy making a video. Says that there's someone here for Kelani Jordan, who's been in the ring since before the last break. She's in the ring waiting to face an opponent selected by Spooky Wendy Chu. And Wendy backstage kind of points to go, and we see a hooded figure walk by. Looked a little familiar. As the music hits, the Titantron hits. Rosemary from TNA shows up here. Courtney Rush, Rosemary, showing up, making her WWE debut, at least on TV as I'm concerned. I'm sure she's worked some dark matches here and there, but never seen her.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if she's ever done anything in WWE. I don't think, as I said, maybe I don't even think she's done like dark matches. So
I've watched Rosemary, Courtney Rush wrestle here in at least Toronto area, GTA, Ontario, like a million times. So crazy to finally see her come out and job to a girl who's only been wrestling for about a year or two, which is, I guess that's just how it goes with this TNA crossover. But at least she got to be on TV, and I still think that's a pretty cool and pretty big deal. So good for her. But Spooky Rosemary comes out. For those not familiar, she's a scary TNA wrestler, but I think everyone's pretty familiar. She hits some pretty cool moves, a fisherman suplex for a near fall, like a fisherman exploder. And then there's a series of forearm exchanges from both of them. Eventually, Kelani counters Rosemary's kick and hits the RVD like spin step kick. And then not just a flatliner, but Kelani, I know she's an RVD fan, but she must be an edge head too, because she hits the Edge's version of he called it the downward spiral. Shout out 9 Inch Nails. Hits it that way, but Rosemary sits up from this, her spooky sit up, and then gets Kelani upside down in the ropes and like spears her there. But eventually Kelani gets out of this, drops Rosemary, and hits the one-of-a-kind split-legged moonsault for the 1-2-3.
Yeah, I thought it was cool seeing Rosemary in WWE. She's been around forever and hasn't really had that moment before, so that was cool. Kelani still this feud I don't think is the best for her. I know you mentioned last week, it's often death for a baby face. I'm thinking of, as you said, like Seth cowering in the corner to the Fiend, that kind of thing. It's difficult having a baby face look good in these kind of moments. And again, I thought just, this Wendy Chu character is so like lazy, and having it, wouldn't it be cool if Rosemary sings the Undead Realm?
Yeah.
It's some goofy bullshit, but they've been doing it for years, where it's this Undead Realm. Have Wendy go there in her dream. Be like, Nightmare on Elm Street style. Right. She's asleep and she meets Rosemary in the Undead Realm to bring her to NXT. More than just her tweeting away, my friends, my spooky mates coming.
Yeah.
A spooky mate's coming to down. I just, yeah.
It was cool to see Rosemary for sure. Cause again, I've followed her for so long, but it's like this Wendy Chu thing I'm not interested in. She then, the lights go out, the screens have Wendy's spooky face, and then she appears and puts her in the sleeper.
Kelani looks terrified, and yeah.
Yeah, so this is definitely a match I'm not necessarily looking forward to, but when it comes to bell to bell, it could surprise. But the story of Wendy right now is kind of
not good.
Sad. Not great. We see the Meta 4 or the Meta 3 backstage, Aura, Jackson, and Lash, and he says, like, don't worry about the loss tonight. Keep stepping up. No one's better than Meta. When Lexis King shows up and goes, what are you guys talking about? Look at you. You're sad. You guys are missing your real dad, Noam Dar. He's the real daddy of Meta 4. And Aura says, the dad bod's got dad jokes. And then says, of course you want to talk about father figures. When Lexis King slugs him, it's a big fight and a pull apart. I thought Aura fucking cooked him.
Was fucking savage.
Or cooked him twice.
This is the baby face coming out with the
Back
same
to
material
back.
MJF had for him.
Fuck, just 2 in a row,
He's
murking
like,
him.
You dress shit, your body shit, and your dad's dead. So like,
Yeah,
essentially,
get the fuck out of my locker room. So yeah, we're going into this feud, I guess, for like next week, but Aura just fucking flaming him right there. I thought, I almost spit out my drink when watching it, especially the last line, the father figure line, referring obviously to Brian Pillman, but crazy. I love Aura Mensa, actually. Hidden gem on NXT.
He's really stepped up, I think.
Hidden gem.
I think the Noam injury kind of helped him a little bit, because he then got put into that position to be feuding with Page and stuff.
Like he's got a little different vibe than like a lot of other things. Obviously, WWE focusing on so many, not just American Canadians. Like we got like Japanese stars and British people and all over. So you get different accents and different voices. His is like very different.
He's
like
Swiss, I think.
But like he's got some sort of like British accent. No,
he's I think he's French Swiss.
Okay, because he's got something that like I'm like, and when he roasts people, I feel like he's one of the best. Like I think he's, again, low key, a hidden gem on WWE roster, because he's always like cooking people, and he's a good wrestler.
Born in Nigeria and then grew up in Zurich, looks like.
Wow, okay. Interesting accent for sure, but I think it works for him.
Oh, yeah.
Again, he cooked King here. He's probably going to lose to him next week, isn't he?
Yeah, but I don't know. Lexis is 50-50 anyway.
Yeah, it's been a bust, I think.
Yeah.
They've realized, you actually can't wrestle. You weren't lying about that. Oh. Chase U with the tag team titles.
Can Ricky Starks just come in and be Lexis King?
Yeah.
He'll just come in as Lexis King and
get the barber,
and no one. This Lexis King disappears, and we just pretend they Sin Cara him.
Yeah, the new Lexis King,
Yeah.
Lexis Starks. I think just Ricky Starks would also work,
sure.
but that'll come on Sunday. Yeah, possibly.
Oh yeah,
maybe. We go to Chase U in their newer classroom, since Ridge gave them that main roster money. They're champions now, and they're celebrating, except Duke and Riley look a little sad, and Duke says, hey, we're sorry we didn't win last week. And Ridge says, don't worry about it, mate. Like, it doesn't win all the time, and even though you didn't win, we will defend these titles against them on Sunday, and we still love you, because I didn't know what I was doing before Chase U, and you've become my family, and I love you like my family. And as long as I have these tag team titles, as long as we have these tag team titles, I got your back. Oof. Did we use this line before in one of our up next? This is like Dakota Kai. Who did this in their feud?
It's
as long as we have the titles, I've always got your back. And then it's like,
it was an NXT feud. Yeah. But this is Red Herring Ridge, isn't it? The amount of times that will do whatever it takes, and then he just wins a match.
Yeah.
So but this again, a heavy tease that as soon as they lose these titles, Ridge is gonna kill these people.
As long as we have these tag team titles, I got your back, and this Sunday won't be no different. We're gonna defend them. When Axiom and Frazier walk in, and they go, "Nah, mate, like, look, we love Chase U," and Frazier says, "I've even been a flag bearer for you."
He was a flag bearer.
You remember that flag bearer, Nathan Frazier? He says, "We've been friends, and I know the charm of Chase U, but let's be honest, like, we're the best tag team going. We just weren't focused. We were worked a lot. So we're going to win these tag team titles back, and we'll show everyone that there's no slowing down. We love you, Chase U, but we're taking these titles back on Sunday. And like, give them a little bit of attitude there. So kind of healing it up for this program, which again, the match really hit the last few times. This one's definitely going to hit.
I see the titles going back on Fraxium.
Me too.
Here, and
Ridge absolutely murders Chase
and then
U.
Ridge,
Go back to your shitty classrooms.
Yeah,
Thea,
sets their classroom on fire.
Thea, you don't actually remind me of my daughter.
Thea.
You remind me of a loser. You're all losers. I'm going back to the main roster.
Yeah.
I
I see him, eating them all.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Book it. This match should be great, too. Also,
looking forward to it. I really enjoyed pretty much
stealer.
all of Fraxium's matches recently, and Chase U have definitely been hitting in the ring as well.
Fraxium tag team of the year, I think, in my books.
Yeah, and when the time comes, they got to move up together.
It'd be great.
I don't think we need a feud between them. Just keep them as the team.
Just imagine trying to take notes during a Fraxium Lucha Bros match.
Oh, boy.
We might have to in the near future, but wow. We go to our next match. Malik Blade in the ring, but he doesn't have his tag team partner Idris because he was attacked earlier, but he's taking on Brooks one-on-one, kind of showcase last week when they beat up Brooks for talking shit. So it kind of set up this whole feud because he's with Sean Spears. Brooks comes out just by himself, and Blade jumps the bell literally by jumping right before the bell rings over and attacking him as the match starts. Brooks sends him to the outside, notices that he's bleeding. He hits him with a swinging neck breaker, but Malik kicks out and tries to come back with this jumping neck breaker of his own, and then they eventually get up to the top rope, and there's another one. It's like a blockbuster off the top rope, but again, Brooks kicks out. There's a DDT, an even flow from Brooks. His Raven-inspired gear, I think he's hitting the Raven DDT, but it's still a 2 count. And then he does this like roll backwards to spider up into the rope, and then hits an elbow drop for the 1-2-3. So Brooks gets his win over Malik. I don't think this was as good as some of the stuff he's been doing thus far, but it's kind of, he's not one of the big focuses right now.
I like kind of the quick, aggressive nature from both guys on the match.
Especially Malik, too. He doesn't usually do that.
Yeah. Question. Has Malik Blade been in Reality of Wrestling recently?
Oh.
Because we know Booker hates Idris and Malik. Well, after the commentary on this match, I think it's Idris Booker has a problem with.
Okay.
Because right at the beginning, he says, Malik in singles is a completely different animal, and I like it.
Oh.
So I think it's Idris that Booker has a problem with.
That's fair. I haven't seen that he's been booked or working reality wrestling. Good shout. But yeah, maybe that's the thing. But I think the storyline is that he finally had some, like, he wasn't just a happy-go-lucky doing power moves. He was angry for some reason. The beatdown happened in a room. Did we actually see the beatdown? We saw Idris was like down, and it looked like there was. I don't know if they.
But didn't we see it after the fact? We didn't see Brooks actually.
I can't really remember,
because I'm wondering if it is a setup to, like, pretend
join the dark side.
Yeah, pretend that we beaten him up, and Idris is actually already with them.
Oh, maybe. Okay. I think they should both join.
I think they will join. It's just how we're going to get there.
They should both join for sure. That'd be a good little unit going on. But I'm still liking this Brooks Jensen thing. But I'm super critical for some reason about my wrestling finishers. He does the backflip thing to get up the ropes, which is like, okay, but then still just hits an elbow where I'm like, if you didn't do all that, would the elbow hurt as much? But still solid from Brooks. We go to Javon Evans backstage, and he gets scared by the interviewer for a second. He goes, "Oh, I forgot that I had an interview today," and he's ready to wrestle because the Gallus boys didn't know that I could wrestle, and I can teach them that they wrestle. But I also throw hands. They say I'm bouncy, and I just do flips, but I can fight. And I'm going to show Joe Coffey that in a second. So Javon versus Joe in a few seconds. And when we come back from break, Tank and Hank, they're backstage and they're watching stuff on their phone. They're trying to film content for their Instagram where they eat food. And they're talking about Joe Hendry, and they say that they both believe when OTM interrupt them and be like, look at these losers. You don't know anything about championships, and Joe Hendry's not going to win. And they go, we don't know anything about championships? I don't think you know anything about championships. and they say, "You just know about barbecue," and they laugh and they go, "Oh yeah, well how about a hoss fight between us?" And they walk off. So I imagine we get this match next week.
So another meaty match,
legit a meat match. There's no barbecue on the line or anything. The barbecue was last week,
right? True.
With the hot dogs, hot dogs in the pocket. That's not a
no. Is that when we see the OC show up again? Because didn't Hank and Tack beat them last week?
They beat them, which OTM could not beat them, right?
That's right. Yeah.
I have a question. Are the Good Brothers going to show up again? Because why are they?
I don't care. I hope not.
Yeah, please don't. We go to our next match. Javon Evans taking on Joe Coffey. Evans gets a huge reaction. He has so many like catchphrases and things already. Like this guy is this guy is pretty much main roster ready. Almost in my mind, he's got.
I wouldn't go that far. Like,
he's got some like everything, and the fact that he's 20 is like they love to jump on young stars. Like
I mean, I think he shouldn't be in NXT too long because I think you will want to capitalize on the fact that you've got someone so young. But there's definitely more he can learn.
So the crowd's chanting, "That boy is bouncy," and he shows Joe Coffey just how bouncy he is. He's doing all these crazy moves and gets the best of Coffey on a drop down situation with a Rana. When we come back, there's a Superman punch from Evans for a near fall, and then he does this crazy runs at the ropes and bounces into a jumping spring kick. Joe does come back though with the huge German suplex for a 2 count. And then there's a spot where Joe jumps off the back for a crossbody, but gets RKO'd out of nowhere from Evans. Kind of like the old RKO out of nowhere in the video games. There's the triple jump Cody cutter is what I'm still calling it for a near fall as Joe kicks out of it, which Evans is shocked. But then the Gallus lads, Wolfgang and Mark Coffey on the apron, they pull Joe out of the ring. So then Evans does a tope landing onto all of them, gets back in the ring, but somehow Wolfie gets up pretty quick, and so does Mark, and they distract the ref. Mark shoves Joe, so then it's Evans who hits the cutter on Mark Coffey instead. But as he gets back up, he's hit with all what's best for the bells?
All the best for the bells.
The best for the bells for the 1, 2, 3. It was the best for Joe Coffey as he beats Javon Evans. And I think this storyline continues.
Unfortunately, yeah. Javon in the Gallus verse now. I guess he needs some friends. Javon is super impressive. I do feel this feels like a big step back since his
in the main event of the pay-per-view
picture. It's Gallus. There's a ceiling to me when it comes to Gallus, and the idea of him feuding with these guys for a bit doesn't particularly excite me. But who do you see if he's getting back up? Who's available for that?
Yeah, what other tag teams? Like Fraxium are kind of busy. Chase U are kind of busy. Malik and Idris
Who are those other
beefing.
big lads? Big lads in the Tims.
Oh, yeah. They don't have like an actual name, but
Tyson and Tyreek.
Tyreek, yeah.
Maybe them.
Okay. Yeah, they haven't been on. They've been on TV, but yeah. Can't even think of what other tag teams
they're the only other tag team.
Yeah, what other tag teams do we have here? Like, not really any.
Well, Hank and Tank are
busy
feuding with OTM and
there you go.
OC and
I guess so. Yeah, it sucks. Javon's not on the
unless
PLE.
you get a main roster down for a little help, like
TNA.
We've seen TNA tag team. ABC.
ABC. Who are those guys?
Chris Bay.
Oh
and
yeah. Right. They're
cool.
pretty good, but I don't know. Either way, it sucks because Evans was show stealer, I think, from that last pay-per-view. He's not even on it. So he's feuding with Joe Coffey.
Yeah.
We go to the Italian restaurant as Tony walks in to meet the strange Italian men. And they go, "Hey, Tony, we're so happy you're here." He goes, "What's wrong? What's an emergency? You said it was an emergency." "It is. He took your room." And he took my room. He walks through the back. Not quite Goodfellas walking into the Copacabana, but he walks through and he sees the NXT North American Championship on the table. And Oba Femi, the champion, all decked up, looking nice.
Look good in a suit.
Biffy. He's sitting there, and Tony sits down, and they have a nice little conversation. And Oba says, "Oh, you see, I found this restaurant, your spot." You exist in this world as a very powerful man, but I'm the ruler of NXT. And I do not accept the disrespect. And Tony says, oh, I feel like I've been disrespected by you. Like, you're disrespecting me? And Oba sits up and says, I could have made a scene. I could have hurt everyone here, but I won't. So Sunday, Dawn versus Ruler. And Tony says, yeah, you got yourself a deal. And on Sunday, I'll show everyone you're mortal. Damn. He would have killed everyone in this restaurant.
I was going to say, I think this would have worked so much better if, Don was getting the phone calls, not seeing his lads. And then he shows up and there's just blood everywhere and carcasses, and Obafemi's there and just, has a napkin, wipes off a bit of blood from his mouth and just goes, Sunday.
I think even if he just trashed the restaurant, would have been like, I don't know.
There's no one else ever at this restaurant.
Yeah, they do the sound effects of just plates and people talking.
I mean, I get he's got a private room for this restaurant, but yeah. Still question it.
It's like when Eddie Thorpe was playing a gig, but it was really just the corner of like a room.
Yeah.
It's like, we know you're NXT and you don't have the like WWE budget, but even when they do it, it doesn't look necessarily great. But you should have seen Women of Wrestling this week at a hotel.
Okay.
It was like, how, you're not at a hotel. It's basically, that's not what you're trying to say that it is. And I feel like Tony's restaurant is like, yeah, we'll give you this corner. Yeah. We'll give you a table to film at. But that match would be good, though. Obafemi, Tony D'Angelo. Like, Oba's been on a good run.
I thought last week did a good job. The spine buster from Tony and all that. This just went a little bit cheesy for me.
Yeah. But I think the match would be good. I think Tony's been stepping up. Oba has been difficult because he's been doing all the multi-mans. Singles is where it's like it could be tricky, but we'll see. We see Joe Hendry walking down the hallway, smiling at all the posters of NXT champions, and then stops at Drew McIntyre and smiles, and then continues on. And Joe Hendry makes his entrance, and he has a microphone. He's going to sing us a little song here. He's got a concert. And he goes, I'm happy you all chose to spend the evening here with me. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. But this Sunday, I have the biggest match of my career, and it's against Ethan Page. So I wrote a song about him. And he sings it, and I'll say some of these lyrics here. Ethan is a champ, I'm afraid to say. I don't want to show you how he stays in shape. And then he's got videos and pictures of Ethan working out in weird costumes, half naked. Costumes in his bedroom, figures on shelf. He gets most excited when playing with himself. And then it shows the Karate Man, Ethan Page in TNA when it was pandemic, when it was Ethan Page versus Ethan Page, Karate Man.
Yeah, you can probably find my report on that somewhere on the site.
I'm sure it was great.
It wasn't.
No, I meant the Karate Man. Ridiculousness. He then says that Ethan likes to work getting dressed up, but it's all weird as we see him wearing like strange things. And then Ethan sucks, believe in Joe. Ethan, put on some clothes. Ethan sucks, believe in Joe. Ethan, put on some clothes. And then they were smart here because they put the lyrics on the screen, and wouldn't you know it, the crowd starts singing along when he's interrupted by what a great thing to get interrupted by. Ego. It like cuts the beginning of the song and everything. It just goes right to the
ego.
Wrestlers got their theme like midpoint drops when they're interrupting people, or when
titles. They've won and it doesn't have the intro.
It was that. Ethan comes out and goes, "Stop singing all this. Stop this. We are done to sing along." But as he's trying to talk, the crowd keeps singing, "Ethan sucks. Believe in Joe. Ethan, put on some clothes." And they don't stop singing this for the rest of this episode, legit, because this is the last segment, and he just tries to talk over them and he can't. Eventually he starts talking and he says, enough singing, enough with this. No matter what you say, Joe, you're not an NXT superstar. And I don't care about these people, but I am an NXT star and I'm the NXT champion. So even though they might not know it yet, their singing is this obnoxious song. Sunday, I promise you, I'm going to beat you. When Ava comes out and says that because of your disrespect last week, I've chosen a special guest referee. And out comes Trick Williams in a ref shirt, looking good. And Ethan is shocked and tries to attack Joe Hendry, but he's hit with the standing ovation, the chokeslam thing. and then pins him as Trick counts the 1, 2, 3 and stands tall. And then as they're celebrating the like gorilla position, you see Pete Dunne just watching. And then he looks to the camera, which it's like, well, he's actually over there. You could just go say what you wanted to say to him over there. But instead he's looking at the camera and says, hey, Trick can't not hear him because he's in the ring, and says, you won't make it to Tuesday, mate, because I'll see you Sunday. So he's probably going to get involved in this matchup is what he's insinuating. But as NXT goes off the air with the people still singing, Ethan sucks.
I thought the crowd really helped this because I didn't think this song was very good. Again,
you're just a negative Nancy today. I feel like this one was better than the last one. At least
I thought the playing with yourself line and the Karate Man was pretty funny, but just
it's
I was amazed that they were singing along this because what was it?
Helped.
Ethan sucks. Believe in Joe. Ethan put on some clothes as Pages stood there fully clothed.
In clothes.
Like, it's not like he was saying this to Pac, you know? Like, it's...
That was a good bit. The full gear bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's WWE-ified. It's like we've taken the thing that people like is cool.
But it's not like... It's not like his raps in TNA are particularly offensive.
Right.
Or anything. You know, they're pretty PG as well. I just... Yeah, I think I'm over the novelty of Joe Hendry right now. I get that he's very popular, and I'm hoping the match delivers. I can't say I'm particularly excited about a Joe Hendry Ethan Page match, and for me these singing segments haven't quite hit. I don't think they've been like real zingers, these lines or whatever.
Yeah, I'm definitely on the same page. It's like, okay, well, this guy's not in WWE. He's not in NXT. So what belief do we have that he would win this title right now? The feud is he's a singing superstar. And what's his character? Well, he's popular online. Okay. It's like, I don't want the novelty to wear off, but the more you like do this, it's like, that's going to wear it down. Seeing all the memes, seeing people with posters, like it's the it thing, but it can quickly become not the it thing. And once WWE usually get their paws on it, it becomes not the cool thing. And I'm thinking it's already like hit that ceiling, and we both watch it, and I think we both kind of feel the same way, where it's like, oh, now we get it, and now you're
the music video or something would have been a bit more fun.
Yeah, like look, it's funny, the guy's singing, but it was like basic. Like I'm a music guy, and I know this guy's made his music videos proper before, so I was still expecting more. It was funnier than the last one. But
would you be like, if you're Ethan Page, would you be like, man, fuck? No,
like,
he keeps telling me to put my clothes on.
No, it's wrestling.
Like,
we all wrestle naked.
We wrestle naked, and currently I'm in a suit.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah. Like, I liked it, but I didn't love it, and I'm not necessarily like, wow, I can't wait to see this match, because I don't really care about the match. Yeah. Again, I like Joe Hendry and support that he's done all this fun stuff, because he's pretty entertaining. Don't get me wrong, but I think they could have went a little bit more. This is our main event. Wentz.
I guess his main events. I was gonna say, like, if you've got like the Julia thing, you could, but I just don't think Jada Parker is gonna be main eventing.
Yeah.
So I would say this is the main event. Yeah.
I know, like, NXT has been like a bit, they've had the TNA stuff and they're trying all different things, but I really think this is like the holdover spot right before they really start to, like, Sean's just like, I don't want to waste some of things.
I definitely get that sense. You had Heat Wave, which was like Stand and Deliver, and Heat Wave, which were big events, and now, you know, CW is just round the corner, and we'll, like, Halloween Havoc's going to be a pretty loaded show, I think. Yeah, but this episode, it could be that I'm just a negative Nancy today and wrestled out, but it didn't do a whole lot for me.
No,
we know what the matches are. It didn't make me overly more excited for any of them, and there was no real wrestling to write home about either tonight.
Yeah. It felt like a taped episode, because it's like, we know what the matches are. We're gonna get to it, and they did a lot of tape stuff, which I guess got around for it. I'm not really sure why or what the reasoning is, but I guess people going overseas and stuff get it out of the way and tape it in the can and stuff. But yeah, not my favorite episode by any means. There wasn't anything that I would like necessarily recommend to go watch from it. But again, I hope the show on Sunday will have some like surprises, meaning like sleeper hits. Like hopefully the wrestling does connect. And that has been something NXT is known for. I've gone into so many of these PLEs being like, I'm not excited for this at all. And I'm just going through it. And then I watch it and I'm like surprised, like Heatwave, man, like such a great show. And going into it, I think both of us were like,
I feel Heatwave had a better card on
than
paper.
This. Yeah, of course. So that was NXT. That's the go home show for No Mercy. I guess we could go into some I guess match card and prediction here if we would like to. NXT No Mercy this Sunday from where are they? Denver, Colorado. And let's talk about Jada Parker, Roxanne Perez. I think that's
I hope Jada steps up. But this is a clear Roxanne Perez win. And a Julia sighting at the end, I imagine.
I think so. I think that makes the most sense. Roxanne obviously should win. She's one of the best wrestlers in NXT, if not the best right now. And this run is great. And these dream matches need to continue. I don't know if the Jada match is a dream match, but hopefully it delivers. And hopefully it leads to the other rogues gallery of people coming into NXT. We got Obafemi versus Tony D'Angelo for the North American Championship.
I think Obafemi's got to continue his run here. I don't see a title change, but I think it could be fun. I see him destroying Stax and Crucifino
and Strange
point.
Italian Men.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think we get this huge spine buster spot from Tony and Oba kicks out and Tony's going to be very shocked at this, but Oba retains for sure.
On one.
Yeah. Screw it. Chase University putting the titles they just won on the line against Nathan Frazier and Axiom.
I think it goes back to Fraxium.
I think so too.
I don't think Chase U are meant to have long title reigns.
We sound like we hate Chase U, but we do love them, but it's more interesting for the story.
And you could probably do with a title change on this show. So I think Fraxium, whether we get Ridge snapping the neck of Andre Chase on this show or the following week. But I see Chase U losing and Ridge turning.
Could we get some sort of swerve where someone else turns instead of Ridge? But Ridge pretty much put it in our hands. As I said,
red herring Ridge.
Yeah.
He's done
but
this
then
before.
Duke's been not doing anything for 2 years here, like teasing that. I don't know. I've been loving it. So I think this match could really slap. So I'm excited. And I think the title should switch here, I think. Wesley versus Zachary Wentz. If we have one TNA person lose on this show, do we have to have a TNA person win on this show? Nah, not really.
No, I see. Do we get any Trey involvement?
That's
maybe you could have Trey involved and Wentz win.
Yeah.
And then just Wes apologize at the end and hug and let's move on.
I think it might go into another match.
Yeah. I'm a little nervous about this match. I haven't, as I expressed, I haven't enjoyed the feud and think this could be a show stealer. I fear it could really underdeliver.
Okay. I'm
going to go Wes. He's got to do something despicable to win this thing.
I'm going to go with Zachary just maybe because they think the more I think it might continue on. But and then Wendy Chu versus Kelani Jordan.
Kelani.
Yeah.
I think I don't see Chu being the person to take this title off.
Yeah.
It still feels pretty new into the reign.
It just feels like a terrible story. What is the story? You're a spooky doll. Okay. Yeah. I don't like this at all. Kelani retains for sure. And Joe Hendry, TNA superstar, pop sensation, taking on NXT champ Ethan Page for the title.
I think we're going to get a lot of bells and whistles. You got Trick as the ref. Pete Dunne's already kind of said he'll be interfering in one way or another. So I think Ethan Page scrapes the win again via all the shenanigans going on.
Right. And then we eventually go back to Trick Ethan Page.
Yeah.
I guess. Right?
Yeah.
That's probably that makes the most sense. We don't really have any other big baby faces on the show since we've turned Wes.
No, I mean, that's again
who would have been number one.
Baffling about this.
Who would have been like your ace on this show.
He felt so ready to be the next guy.
It is backwards, but I see Ethan Page retaining.
Yeah.
It would be interesting if they gave a TNA superstar the NXT championship. Don't get me wrong, but I just don't see it happening. So
I don't.
There you go. So that's our predictions for Sunday. What will happen on Sunday No Mercy? I see we got some feedback on our Facebook here from some listeners. Search Poisonrana in Facebook and join our group, and we'll read your comments here. I see Manny from Pacoima writes in, first things first, as a Mexican American, I am tired of the I'm Hispanic, so let me hablar Spanglish every third word porque so the audience can know trope. That's not how we talk. That's how Hollywood thinks we talk. They overdid it. Raquel. Wait, am I reading the right thing?
Yeah, they overdid it with Raquel, as in when Raquel was in NXT.
Got you. They're overdoing it with Lola, who reminds us in all her matches that I'm a Latina. We either speak full Spanish or full English. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Anywho, I'm looking forward to No Mercy. Wes versus Wentz will probably steal the show. As of now, I'm not feeling Wes as the heel. It doesn't have that aura Trey and Zach had when they were heels, especially when they were in a wrestling revolver. Since the spooky girls keep coming after Kelani, I would like to volunteer Killer Kelly next. Who do you think Jada was talking to towards the end of the segment? Also, I hope this partnership gives us the Russian Dynamite versus La Primera, Masha versus Stephanie once she finally debuts. Yeah, I mean, they're still just like giving us some TNA people that there's a lose to WWE people.
So we think we're just going to continue just being spooky with Kelani? Just anyone spooky?
Oh, please, no, I hope not. But what's he like? Lola is it because Lola the No Mercy commercial? Because we watched it on the network, they play a commercial like 10 times a night, and it's her like half speaking in Spanish and English. Is that?
I think just in general, like you see it with LWO, like and a lot of the like Spanish speaking wrestlers. Look, it's for the longest time that WWE are finally embracing that there is a world, that it's not just America and English speaking people. I think I can understand what Manny's getting at, like, because I certainly get tired of, British tropes and things like that. But I think you want to try and be as universal to everyone. Whereas in the past, they wouldn't have had them speak any Spanish at all. And it's like, you'll have to speak English and then they'll speak it badly and be like, oh, this guy can't promo. So I get why they do the hybrid. I would take it over just forcing them to speak English. I have no problem with the subtitle thing as well.
I think Cino actually responded. John Cino responded to Manny. I wonder if that's a region thing, because my whole life where I'm from in New York, I've been hearing the Spanglish talk the same way you've described, which I think too, I'm Portuguese, my family, I can't speak Portuguese. Some of them can't really speak English, so they speak Portuguese English to me, where it's
it's the thing is what when I've not really spent much time in Spain, but when I was over in like Germany and Austria, you'd see so many commercials that are half English, half German. Yeah. Like mid-sentence flicking into German or English or whatever. So it is a thing.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Manny, for writing in as always.
We go to Frank, who says, cool to see Rosemary, though I miss her old Decay theme. Her new one is so bland. Jada ready for the power slap crossover. Wes and Wentz face-off was tense. It got me hyped for Sunday. Enjoyed the Hendry concert and the crowd continuing to sing the song when Ethan came out. And Trick as the ref adds a nice wrinkle. No Mercy could be another Dark Horse gem NXT PLE. Looking forward to it. Was that a Drew Hendry tease before when Joe walked by the picture of Drew? And who was Jada talking to? I think the implication is supposed to be Vakur, but it could just be to throw us off.
Yes, it's someone that scared Roxanne. Whatever noise she made. And we go to Megan, finally, who says, decent go home with the Rascals v. Rascal segment, standing out big time. Wentz did some great character work, and owning up to his mistakes made him an even bigger babyface as a result. Nice to see Rosemary stop by, and that pop was pretty big since this was a taped episode. Tasha Steele's got to stop by ASAP. The Jada Parker sit-down did a lot to humanize her, and I want to know who she was talking to after she smacked Roxy, who looked a little out of sorts. Sunday got to provide an answer one way or another. She living off borrowed time. The clock ticks faster. The Hendry concert was fun, and it's smart to plug Trick as the guest ref. Pete Dunne having an axe to grind left another cliffhanger. Is Pete going to jump him prior to No Mercy? So many questions.
I think Cora is another possibility of who it was, right, has the history with Rox, and I don't think Jada was really on TV much when Cora was there.
I've heard about you.
Yeah,
what she said.
Exactly.
So, yeah, that's not a bad shout. Not really exciting, but
no.
I I know they're like best friends, so they probably want to do that match.
I wouldn't mind seeing Cora coming back as a babyface because I didn't think she was a good heel. Right. And I think if you are going Cora Roxanne, I think Roxanne is suiting this role better than Cora was, because I like Cora when she had the Natty match and all that, the War Games match, but when she turned heel, she really didn't click. So we'll see how they present her.
Yeah.
If it is her.
Yeah. Thank you, Megan and Frank and Manny for writing in there. Appreciate it. But yeah, Sunday night, No Mercy. You're off, but I will be joined by Andrew Thompson, as we will be, as soon as the show ends, we'll be live here on the Post Wrestling YouTube and the audio to come afterwards. But I know that we got wrestling during the day. Mm-hmm. And I know John and Way, they got it a lot easier. They just get to go live at 4 or 5 p.m. on a Saturday.
Yeah, they still talk about being so tired the whole time. Never have kids.
Yeah, they're different. They're different now after our party the other week. They're different. They're old men. No, but there's Bash in Berlin.
There is.
Which Way and John will be going live right afterwards to talk about. But we can briefly talk about it. I know we've gone long, but Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens, who I guess accepted the title match.
Yeah, he's like, fine, whatever. I guess
he should lose.
Yeah,
and then right after break Cody Rhodes' nose. He should just attack him after and then turn heel. That's
you didn't even won the match in the first place. You embarrassed me in Berlin.
Yeah, fuck it.
Sure. I just hope the match is good. I really enjoyed the Cody AJ match. I really didn't see AJ winning the title. I see this could be the same, where it actually is a really good match, but the stakes aren't there for me. Yeah, and I don't even know if I want to see Owens turn heel. I've kind of enjoyed. I know Randy's doing his own thing, but I've enjoyed that pairing of the two of them and stuff. Right. So, but yeah, Cody.
We're gonna see Young Bucks shoutouts in this match. Super kicks.
Yeah, could do.
That's the link between them, right? Kevin, you could have been the guy in AEW if you didn't sign, right? Essentially, that could be the story, but that's really not what they're going with. But I see Cody retaining, hopefully a heel turn from Kevin Owens. CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre in a strap match. The Yappa Pie.
I think Punk's got to win this one. Drew got the first one. I imagine we're getting a rubber match. Yeah. I'm hoping for I'm hoping for something a bit more physical than the last one. You've got the strap involved. Although I think they did say it's the touch the four corners thing.
What the fuck?
Which I really hope it's
no,
not.
It can't be. That would be so stupid. It's the first match stipulation.
I might have been imagining it, but
probably
I thought I heard that.
Okay, that would be so stupid for the match type. No, that would be so, especially since he did the chain match with MJF in AEW, which is maybe his best match that he did. So kind of strange that they would go the other route with this. The Unholy Union versus Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill.
I'm at the point where I kind of think Unholy Union should just continue being champs.
I like the Witches.
I think the way in the whole time it's Jade and Bianca kind of being we're just going to steamroll you and we shouldn't have ever lost to you in the first place. Right. They're being overly cocky where if they do win, it just kind of destroys you. So I think there's more you can do with the Witches still as champions, and Bianca and Jade can split off and do other things.
Okay. Yeah. I'll go with Bianca and Jade just because I think they're going to go with it. But I like the Witches. They're not that spooky. They're just witches. Terror Twins. Are they really twins?
Yeah.
Damian Maria versus Judgment Day, Dirty Dom, and Liv Morgan in a mixed tag match.
I'd like to see Liv and Dom win this one.
Yeah. I think it would just add to the heat.
Yeah,
here.
exactly.
The just heels getting the best of these two that just completely piss these two off. Or you finally get some big moment where they get their retribution. But I don't know if it's still building. Again, I've not really enjoyed WWE since WrestleMania, and it might not be for me. This is easily the biggest storyline in wrestling. Has to be right now. I know we just blabbed on how much we love Danielson might not retiring, but that's for the sickos. This is main roster fans who don't really know what they're watching half the time. they're sucked into this so much.
Oh yeah, it's been popular. Like
this storyline is big. Like
I still find it funny that Ray for the longest time like I'll never face my kid, and now it's just like every Raw he's like, you know what, I'm gonna fucking beat you up again.
They wrestle a whole lot, but I love that. Terror Twins. I think it'd be funnier if Dom and Liv.
I think Dom and Liv, yeah.
Gunther versus Randy Orton in Berlin, world title on the line. Gunther winning this one.
I think so, but I think they've done a way better job in this one in making me think that Randy could win it. I think it's, if this was later in Gunther's run, I could see Randy winning this thing. I thought he had a good promo this week, actually, kind of putting over the world heavyweight title and how that was the first title he won, and this is kind of its spiritual, what's the word? Like just continuing that title reign spiritually, and what it means to him. And we know Cena's retiring next year, and we know how close Randy is to achieving that. Where I think this is the match where they've done a good job of planting the seeds of doubt that it's a foregone conclusion. Unlike the Owens Cody thing, which is like, well, yeah, Cody wins. I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to seeing what the crowd are going to be like with Gunther. I do see Gunther winning it, but I don't rule out a title reign for Randy soon.
Wow. So you're saying, I think it's MGK who comes out and screws Randy Orton. Have you seen this today? MGK, the rapper, or whatever you call him, called out, said Randy Orton and him had a bit of a moment backstage at SummerSlam on the Logan Paul podcast. And he kind of stopped for a second and then kind of like was talking. And I could be wrong, but in the clip I watched, he made it sound like he tried to say something to Randy Orton. Randy just didn't want anything. It's kind of how he said the story happened. And Randy, since recording our show, has tweeted a Pinocchio emoji. Yeah. So maybe MGK comes out and costs Randy the match leading up to MGK versus Randy Orton.
There is the thing as well where because the title is a Raw title, whoever loses will be going to SmackDown. So
is that
because Randy is a SmackDown wrestler, right? And he's only got this match because of the King of the Ring,
the kick out
thing, and the kick out. So his shoulders are not being down. So that would move Gunther over to Cody for a potential Cody feud down the line. But
Gunther. Yeah, for sure. I'd say this card isn't necessarily the one that jumps at you, especially for knowing this show is going to happen all these months ago. Okay, what could they book? But I think the main two title matches, as much as Cody and Kevin, the storyline is dumb, but the match will be good. Gunther Randy, I hope, is better than their last one. I really didn't like it. The rest of it, I'm not that even the Punk stuff. I thought that match at SummerSlam was just so boring. So if you're saying this is some Four Corners thing, I hope that's not the case, and I hope it's a strap because that could make it better. Blood in it, you know what I mean? Get violent like we've seen you do because you gotta still kind of prove it. But I think it'll still be good. What do you think?
I enjoy the WWE shows at the moment. Yeah. They're different from AEW shows, and I think I'm watching them for different things a lot of the time. But again, for just an afternoon of enjoying wrestling, again, it's just 5 matches. You go and you cook some dinner and you get yourself a drink during those long commercial breaks, and then you come back for another match. I've been enjoying WWE. It is always this time of year where it kind of, you're waiting for the next big thing to happen. But I think it'll be fun. I'm interested to see what the crowd's going to be like in Germany, what crazy chants we're going to have coming out of there.
Some German songs.
Any German songs that are going to be coming out.
Prost.
Prost?
What does that mean?
Cheers.
Cheers, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
And I'm medium level of excitement for this one.
Well, here we go. Bash in Berlin this weekend. No Mercy this weekend. A lot of stuff going on. Again, follow Post Wrestling. Follow Poisonrana. All the socials. John Away will be live after the Bash. Myself and Andrew Thompson will be live after No Mercy. And then we'll be back on the Wednesday with an afternoon up next at some point as well, chatting about everything as well. So lots and lots of wrestling stuff. As always, follow the socials at Poisonrana Pod. Check out our Patreon, $5 if you like what you heard today. Check out all the other shows that we do, wrestling reviews, best match ever, movie reviews, everything on there. And while you're at it, chop-tees.com/Poisonrana. You can buy yourself a hat, a shirt, a hoodie, whatever it is, and it supports your favorite boys here today. And I myself, Braden Herrington, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at the Bray D.
And I am at Davie Portman.
That's it. That's all. Take care. Goodbye. And rest in peace to the master of the universe, Psycho Sid.
Ahoy!